So, when you're speaking English, do you always just say, I think so?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably the most common phrase for giving an opinion. We all use it all the time.
We do. And I think so is a great phrase. It's safe. It's always correct. But it's a little bit vanilla. There are so many other ways to express what you're thinking. And a lot of them have these really interesting, specific meanings.
Exactly. Sometimes you want to sound absolutely certain. Other times you want to be more polite.
Where you just want to sound a bit more natural, like you really understand the culture behind the language.
And that is our mission for this deep dive.
That's right. We're going to explore the language of opinions. We really want to help you sound more natural, more precise, and more confident when you're speaking English.
Okay, let's jump right in then. We all know, I think. It's the standard. But what about, I guess?
Ah, yeah.
Are they synonyms? Can I just, swap them whenever I want?
That is probably the most common question I get from students. And so many people use them as if they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
But they're not.
No, they're really quite different. They sort of come from different places in your mind, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's unpack that a little. If I say, I think it will rain versus I guess it will rain, what's the real difference there?
Well, I think usually means you have an opinion that's based on some kind of evidence.
Okay.
You've used your brain, you've thought about it. It's an active process.
Yeah.
You're stating a belief you've formed.
So I think implies there's been some kind of mental effort. Yes, exactly that, mental effort. If you say, I think the restaurant is open, it usually means you have a reason for that thought.
Like maybe I remember seeing their hours somewhere.
Right. Or you checked online last week. You're actually engaging with facts you know.
And
I guess.
Is
much weaker. It's often used when you're just not sure. It's more passive. It can even mean you're sort of admitting defeat or that you really don't know the answer.
Admitting defeat. That's a really interesting way to describe it.
It is. Think about a situation like this. You're trying to get a taxi. It's raining. And you've been waiting for, say, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And there are just no taxis anywhere. You might sigh and say to your friend, I guess we should just walk.
I see that completely. It's not really a choice. It's like saying, well, I don't have a better idea.
Exactly. Or there are no other options left, so I assume this is what we have to do now. It shows that uncertainty and resignation.
So back to the weather example.
Yeah.
I just look up at the sky.
And you see dark clouds right now. In this moment, you might say, I guess it'll rain. You're just reacting to what you see. You didn't, sit down and analyze the full weather report.
So I guess it's more for immediate reaction or for when I'm not totally confident. It feels more casual.
That's right. Very casual. You'll hear it a lot, especially in American English. Just a simple, I guess so?
I guess so. To me, that can sound a little unenthusiastic.
It can be. A lot depends on your tone of voice. But there's another phrase that's often even more unenthusiastic. If you really want to sound reluctant, you need a different word.
Oh, really? What's the word for reluctance?
I suppose.
I suppose. Okay, that sounds a little more formal to my ear. Maybe a bit British.
It is a bit more formal, and yes, it's very common in British English. But the real core of it, the psychological meaning, is reluctance.
Reluctance.
Yeah.
You mean agreeing to something you don't really want to do?
Yes. Let's use a really clear example. Imagine a friend asks you, can I borrow your car?
Okay.
And you really don't want to lend it to them. You're worried they might scratch it. But,
Yeah.
You're a good friend, and you can't think of a good excuse to say no.
So I feel like I have to say yes.
Right. So you'd say, I suppose so.
Can I borrow your car? I suppose so.
Exactly. And what that really translates to is, yes, you can, but I am not at all happy about this. It signals agreement, but without any joy.
Wow, that is such a useful nuance. If I say, I think so, it's positive or at least neutral. But if I say, I suppose so, it sounds like I'm doing you a big favor.
Precisely. It's a very weak agreement. It's polite enough. It is a yes. But it carries this heavy sigh underneath the words.
Okay, so just to quickly recap this first part, we have, I think, for opinions you've actually thought about.
Right, the active ones.
I guess for uncertainty or just reacting to what's happening now. And I suppose for a more formal or reluctant yes.
That's a perfect summary of the basics. But of course, English is spoken all over the world, and people in different regions use different words for these same kinds of ideas.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. I see I reckon in our notes.
Okay.
Now, when I hear I reckon, I immediately think of old cowboy movies.
You are definitely not alone in that. I reckon it has a very, very strong regional flavor to it.
So where would I actually hear this in the real world today?
You'll hear it a lot in the southern United States. But it's also extremely common in Australia, and in some parts of the UK, it's really just a standard way to say, I think, in those places.
Is it just another way to say I think? Or is there a little something extra to it?
It basically means I think, but there is a slight difference. The word reckon actually comes from the idea of reckoning or a calculation.
Calculation, you mean like math?
In a way, yeah. It implies that you've sort of calculated the answer, you've looked at the whole situation, maybe used some practical knowledge you have, and then you've come to a conclusion.
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure. Imagine a farmer, and she's looking at a broken fence on her property. She looks at the wood, she looks at how it broke. She might say, I reckon that fence needs fixing.
That sounds very practical, very grounded.
It is. It's a practical kind of opinion. It's friendly, it's informal, but it shows you've used your judgment. In the southern U.S., if you say, I reckon, and you turn out to be wrong, it might sting a little because it implies you used your skills to judge the situation.
That is so cool. So it's not just a random guess, it's a calculated opinion, I reckon.
But just be a little careful. If you use it in a big business meeting in, say, New York City, people might find it a bit rural. It's definitely a regional style. It paints a picture of who you are.
I love that. Okay, moving from the practical to the personal. This next one is huge right now. I feel like I hear this everywhere, especially with younger people. I feel like getting pizza, or I feel like this is a bad idea.
Yes, this is a really important shift in the English language. I feel like moves the focus from your brain to your emotions.
Right.
It shifts from objective truth to your subjective experience.
So it's not really about facts at all.
No, not really. It's about personal feelings. If you say, I think we should go, you probably have a logical reason for it. Maybe it's getting late. Maybe you know the last train is coming.
And if I say, I feel like going...
That just means you want to go. It's your desire. I feel like going for a walk. That's not a fact. It's a preference. It's what you feel like doing.
But people use it for opinions, too. Like you said, I feel like he's lying.
Yes, they do. And this is where it can be quite strategic. When you say it like that, it means I have a gut feeling. It's your intuition. You might not have any proof, but your intuition is telling you something isn't right.
So I feel like is softer than I think. It's much harder for someone to argue with your feelings.
Exactly. That's the strategy. If you say, I think this plan is bad, someone can argue back and say, you're wrong, and here's the data that proves it.
Right.
But if you say, I feel like this plan is risky, well, that's just how you feel. It's subjective. Nobody can tell you that your feeling is wrong.
That is a fantastic tip for having difficult conversations.
Yeah.
If you want to share an opinion, but you don't want to start a big fight, maybe lead with, I feel like.
It really connects you to the other person on an emotional level. It saves face. It's just less aggressive.
Speaking of not being aggressive, let's talk about politeness. Sometimes we want to agree with someone, but we don't want to sound too strong. We want to leave a little room for the other person's opinion.
Politeness is so important in English-speaking cultures, especially in the UK, but also in, professional American settings. We often use what are called softeners to make our language sound more gentle.
Okay, one phrase I have here is, I imagine so. That sounds very sophisticated to me. I imagine so.
It's very polite. It's a bit like, I guess, but it's much more elegant. It sounds more thoughtful.
So when would I use it?
Imagine someone asks you a question and you want to agree, but you aren't 100% sure, and you want to be gentle about it. You don't want to sound like a know-it-all.
Okay, so if someone asks, is he tired?
You could answer, I imagine so. It means, based on what I know, it's very likely that he is tired. It sounds empathetic.
That sounds so much better than just saying, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe can sound a little rude or like you don't really care, dismissive. I imagine so shows you're actually considering the situation. You're using your imagination to understand.
I really like that. It's classy. Imagine so.
Another one in this polite category is I would think so.
I would think so. Why do we add that word would in there? That feels a bit complicated grammatically.
It is a little complex, but the effect is wonderful. The word would makes the sentence conditional, so it softens your opinion by making it sound hypothetical.
It feels less direct.
Yes. It essentially means, if I were to look at the facts, and if the world operates logically, then this is what I would think. It suggests you're a reasonable person who is using logic.
So it sounds very thoughtful, Not impulsive.
Exactly. If someone asks, is this the right way to the station, you could say, I would think so. It means you're pretty sure, but you're leaving a little bit of room for error. You're saying, my logic says yes, but it's possible I'm wrong.
I am definitely going to try to use that one. I would think so. It makes you sound smart and careful at the same time.
It does. It sounds like you've considered the options. It's a favorite phrase of consultants and advisors.
Okay, so we've covered uncertainty, regional styles, and politeness. But now, I want to talk about energy. Yes. Sometimes you agree with someone so much you just want to shout yes. But just saying yes can be a little boring. What can we say instead?
Okay. For strong agreement, we have some fantastic idioms for this. These are a lot of fun.
One of my favorites is I'll say.
I'll say. Yes, a classic. It's short, but it's very powerful.
But what does it mean? Like, I will say something, it feels like half a sentence.
It's an idiom, so the literal meaning isn't important. It basically just means I agree completely, or I was thinking the exact same thing. It's used for heavy emphasis.
So if I say, wow, it is really hot today.
I would answer, I'll say.
And that means, yes, it is extremely, undeniably hot.
It's like adding a verbal exclamation point. You usually use it when you're agreeing with a statement about a quality, like hot or difficult or expensive.
The cake is delicious.
Let's say.
I love it. It's so enthusiastic. It shows you're really paying attention.
Now here's a tricky one. Tell me about it.
Tell me about it. Okay, if an English learner hears this, they might think the person is literally asking them for a story. Please, go on. Tell me more about it.
That is a very, very common mistake. I've seen students actually start telling a long story when they hear this. But tell me about it is really an idiom of agreement.
So it does not mean tell me a story.
No, not in this context. It really means I know exactly what you're talking about because I have the same experience.
Ah, so it's all about a shared experience.
Yes. And usually it's used for negative or knowing things.
Negative things. Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Imagine you're complaining to a friend. You say, the traffic was just terrible today.
And my friend said, tell me about it.
And that means, I know. I also hate the traffic. Don't even get me started.
It's like you're saying you don't even need to tell me because I already know how awful it is.
Exactly. It's a way of commiserating, of complaining together. And, people love to complain together.
My boss is so demanding.
Tell me about it.
I get it. It brings people closer through a shared pain.
That's a great way to put it. It's a bonding phrase.
Okay, there's another one that's super popular, especially with younger people. I know, right?
I know, right? Oh, this one is very conversational, very casual. You hear it everywhere now.
It sounds like a question at the end.
Right. It does, but it's more of a rhetorical question. You're not really asking for confirmation. You're just confirming that you both agree on something that feels obvious.
When would we use this one?
Often when you're a little surprised and happy that you share the same opinion, or when something is obvious to both of you and you want to sort of celebrate that little moment of agreement.
Like if I say, this pizza is the best in the whole city.
I know, right? It's like saying, I'm so glad you think so too, or isn't it just amazing?
It feels very friendly, like something you'd say to a good friend.
Yes. It validates what the other person is feeling. It creates this little bubble of agreement just between the two of you.
Okay, so I'll say is for emphasis.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Is for shared annoyance. And I know, right, is for connecting with friends.
Perfect. Using these will make you sound so natural in casual conversations. They really add color to your speech.
But what if we're at work? I can't exactly say, I reckon, or tell me about it, in a big meeting with the CEO.
That is very true. In a professional setting, you need a different set of tools. You want to sound confident. You want to sound credible.
We said, I think is okay, but is there something stronger?
Yes. I believe.
I believe. That sounds very serious.
It is. I think is about your mind processing some information. I believe is about your core conviction. It shows you are very confident.
So if I say, I believe this is the best strategy for the company.
That is a very strong statement. It tells your team, I have thought about this and I have no doubt. It's a leadership phrase.
But sometimes in a meeting, you don't want to sound like you have all the answers. You want to be collaborative.
For that, we have phrases like, in my view, or from my perspective.
In my view. From my perspective. What's the nuance there?
These phrases are incredibly useful. They tell people, this is how I personally see the situation. It acknowledges that other people might see it differently. It sounds more objective.
So it sounds more open to discussion.
Exactly. It's assertive, but it's also polite. In my view, we should focus on cutting costs. You're stating your opinion clearly, but you're not declaring it to be the absolute truth.
It kind of invites other people to share their views, too.
Yes. It's fantastic for collaboration. It says, this is what I see from where I'm standing. What do you see from where you are?
What if you don't have all the information? You're in a meeting, someone asks you a question, but you only know part of the story. You don't want to lie.
Then you need a safety phrase.
A safety phrase. I like the sound of that.
You can say, as far as I can tell.
As far as I can tell. What does that do?
It limits your opinion to only what you know right now. It means based on the limited information I have seen.
So if I end up being wrong later, I'm covered. I can say, well, I only knew part of the story at the time.
Exactly. It protects you. As far as I can tell, the project is on schedule.
It implies I might be wrong if there's some information I haven't seen yet, but based on my current view, this is the situation.
Yes. It's very honest, and it shows you're being careful. And in business, being careful is often seen as being very smart.
This has been such a great deep dive. We have covered so much ground.
We really have. We've gone all the way from the uncertainty of, I guess, to the strength and conviction of, I believe.
So what does this all mean for everyone listening?
It means you have choices. You don't have to use the same word over and over again. You can paint with different colors.
I love that image. Language as painting, I think, is just one color on the palette. But I imagine, I'll say, these all add texture and new details.
And using the right phrase at the right time helps you connect better with people. It helps them understand not just what you're saying, but how you feel about it.
Are you sure? Or are you just guessing? Are you happy to agree? Or are you reluctant?
Exactly. These phrases tell the whole story.
So here's my challenge to you, the listener. Today, just pick one new phrase from our list. Just one.
Maybe, I imagine so. Or try out, tell me about it, with a friend.
And just try to use it in a conversation. Or even just say it out loud to yourself. Practice the feeling of it.
Those small changes can make a huge difference in how you sound.
I feel like our listeners are going to do great with this.
I would think so.
I see what you did there. Very smooth.
I couldn't resist.
Well, I think that's all for this deep dive. Thank you so much for listening.
Good luck with your English. Goodbye for now.
See you next time.
You know, actually, before we go, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. It's really important.
What's that?
We talked a lot about the words themselves, but your tone of voice is also critical.
Oh, that's a great point. Tone of voice changes everything. We should definitely talk about this.
It really does. Think about, I guess so.
Okay. I guess so.
It's sounding sad. See? That sounds like you're really disappointed. But what if you say it with a surprised, happy tone?
I guess so. Sounding happy.
It sounds completely different, right? Or think about, I suppose.
I suppose. Sounding hesitant.
That's the reluctant one we talked about. But what if you say it because you're just realizing something new?
You know, I suppose you're right.
There. It sounds like you're accepting a new idea. You're being open-minded.
So the words are the tools, but the tone is how you use the tools.
Exactly. So when you practice these phrases, practice the emotion behind them, too. Don't just read them off a list. Try to feel them.
So if you say, tell me about it, with a big smile on your face, that might be confusing.
Yes. Tell me about it almost always needs a little sigh, maybe roll of the eyes. Ugh, tell me about it.
And I know, right? Needs that burst of energy. Can't just whisper it.
Whispering, I know, right? No, that doesn't work at all. It needs to pop. I know, right?
This is such a key part of fluency. It's not just the vocabulary. It's the music of the language.
The music and the acting. Speaking a new language is a little bit like being an actor. You have to play the part.
I reckon you're right about that.
Nice one. Very natural.
Hey, I'm learning. Okay, one more question for you. You know, we talked about, I feel like, can it be used to soften a criticism? That seems really useful.
Oh, that's a great use for it. No one likes being criticized directly.
Rip.
So imagine you're working on a project with a colleague, and you think they're making a mistake.
If I say, I think you're doing it wrong, that sounds really harsh.
Very harsh. It sounds like an attack. I think can sound like a final judgment. But try it with, I feel like.
I feel like maybe we're going in the wrong direction here.
See? So much softer. It's about we, not you. And it's just a feeling, not a hard fact. It makes it so much easier for the other person to hear you without getting defensive.
It saves their face.
Yes. Face saving is a huge part of communication. I feel like is an amazing tool for that.
What about a phrase like, it seems to me? Is that similar?
It seems to me is also a great softener. It's very objective. It seems to me that the numbers in this report are incorrect.
It sounds like you're just observing the situation, not attacking the person who made the report.
Precisely. You're talking about how things seem, the appearance of the situation. You're not saying you made a mistake. You're just saying, this is what it looks like to me.
These are such powerful tools for the workplace.
They really are. Using I think all the time can come across as too aggressive or even too simple. Mixing in these other phrases shows real emotional intelligence.
My final thought is, I reckon we should wrap this up.
It has a nice rhythm, doesn't it? I think my favorite is, tell me about it.
Why that one?
I just love a good complaint.
Well, at least you're honest about it. But yeah, it feels good to know someone else understands your frustration. It's therapeutic.
It really is. Shared misery is a powerful bond.
Okay, one last thing before we go for real. I know, right?
Yeah.
Is used all the time in text messages.
Oh, IKR.
IKR.
IKR. For I know, right? You see it constantly on social media.
So if you're texting a friend in English, you can just type IKR.
It's the digital shorthand. It means the exact same thing. That quick hit of agreement and connection.
This video is so funny. IKR.
Simple and efficient.
Okay, good to know. But for speaking, say the whole thing.
Please say the whole thing. Don't say IKR in a real conversation. That would sound very strange.
Good advice. Okay, I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on.
To chew on, to think about. Yes, a good way to put it.
So let's do a final recap. The lightning round.
Let's do it.
If you're unsure.
I guess.
If you're reluctant.
I suppose.
If you're being practical and maybe a little bit country.
I reckon.
If you're talking about emotions.
I feel like.
If you want to be polite and thoughtful.
I imagine so, or I would think so.
If you're super enthusiastic.
I'll say.
If you're sharing a complaint.
Tell me about it.
And if you're bonding with a friend.
I know, right?
In a professional meeting and you're confident.
I believe.
And if you're being professional but cautious.
As far as I can tell.
There it is. The ultimate cheat sheet.
My final piece of wisdom is this. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Ah, the classic advice.
It's classic because it's true. If you try to say, I reckon, and it comes out sounding a bit funny, just laugh about it. People will appreciate that you're trying something new.
It's about connection, not perfection.
That's the perfect way to end.
Agreed. Oh, we missed one.
We did. Agreed. Simple, strong, perfect.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, now we're just repeating ourselves. Time to go.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day and keep talking.